Welcome to Sit Around the Fire. This is the space where we get to have real, unfiltered conversations about mental health, about personal growth, and what it takes to actually heal and show up fully in your life. I am your host, Ashlea Dillard. I am a therapist, a hypnotherapist, and a former first responder. And this podcast is here to challenge the way that you think. It's here to help you reconnect with yourself. And it's also here to remind you that transformation is always possible. So I'm so glad that you're here today for another episode and excited to bring you this solo conversation, something that doesn't really get talked about very much. And I definitely have been feeling this in the season of my life that I'm in now. So I felt like it's a valuable conversation to bring to the table for all of us here today. So what are we going to talk about? We are talking about being the strong one, the one who everybody relies upon, the one who holds everything together, the one who shows up no matter what. And on the outside, it looks like strength. It comes across like being super strong, being brave, being that person. But what does this feel like on the inside? It feels like exhaustion. It feels like isolation. Like there's no room, there's no space, there's no time for you to simply fall apart. And what I see over and over again in my work, and I've witnessed in my life as well, because hi, I'm here as a human as well, is the people who are the strongest for everyone else are often the ones who silently struggle the most. And this has been so profoundly true and impactful in my life lately, is being the one that's trying to keep everything together, keeping the ship afloat, for lack of a better way of saying it, and how we internalize all of those things so much. So how do you recognize if you might be the strong one? Well, if you're holding this role, you might be the strong one if you're the person everyone calls when things go wrong. If you're that number, that text on speed dial, you're that person. If you don't like asking for help, which is a very big one for me as well too, it's taken me a long, long time and still a work in progress to feel like I can actually ask for help, that I can receive help. Not so much on the way that people aren't willing to show up and aren't willing to help, but it's my own resistance to allowing myself to be able to receive that help. So if you're the person that gets called, if you're the one that doesn't like asking for help, if you have this dialogue spinning around in your head that you feel like you should be able to handle this, whether you're comparing your situation to someone else's, or if you're telling yourself that, the inner critic in your head is saying, you should be able to handle this. It's not that big of a deal, or you're strong, or look at what you've done before. If that dialogue is spinning around in your head, you are definitely one of these people. If you keep going, even when you are completely drained, this is what I call the grind on grind mentality. If it's that, well, I just have to keep going. I just have to keep getting through this day. I have to get through this 12 hours. I have to get through this 4 hours. I have to get through this 1 hour. If you're that grind mentality type person, then you need to check this box. If you're the fixer, the helper, the holder of everything, yep, you're one of those, and so am I. I have spent a lot of my life wrapped up in the identity of trying to fix things, trying to be the helper, trying to be the holder of everything, and I have built an identity around this, and I'm probably pretty sure that you've built an identity around this as well. I'm the one who's got it. I'm the one that people can count on. I don't fall apart. But here is the part that no one wants to talk about and no one wants to get real about is when you are always the strong one, you don't get to be the supported one. And I'm going to say that again because I really, really want that to sit in with you is when you are always the strong one, you don't get to be the supported one. Now, let's reframe what's actually happening here because this isn't just a personality trait or as some people like to call it, oh, this is my gift, is this is patterning, you guys. For a lot of people, being the strong one didn't just happen randomly. It's not something that you just picked up and started doing. This is learned adaptive behavior. Again, I'm saying it again because I really feel like you need to hear this very clearly. This is learned and adaptive behavior. And we know that with enough information, all behavior is going to make sense. So at some point in your life, being strong, being composed, being the one who didn't need anything was the safest role that you could take on. Now, maybe you grew up in an environment where there wasn't space for emotions. You may have had to grow up very quickly. You may have had the responsibility of taking care of others, or vulnerability wasn't a thing, and vulnerability didn't feel safe. So, what happens here is your system got really, really good at this language and this patterning is hold it together. Keep going. Don't break. And for a long time, and a lot of us, and probably many people who are still functioning in this framework, is that worked. It protected you. So, those methods, what was protecting you then in that environment or with that nervous system dialogue and that behavior can actually start to quietly cost you something very pricey in the here and now. So, let's dive into what's the hidden cost here because the cost of always being the strong one, number one, is going to look like emotional suppression and or emotional repression, however you want to call it. So emotional suppression with this mindset that you don't always process things. And again, I'm calling myself out just as much as I'm calling you out today as well because I've there's so much power in the commonality of the experience. So I know that if I've experienced this, you've experienced it too, and it's time to bring some dialogue around this. So when we don't always process things, when we push through them, it's another method of just pushing stuff down. And when we think about the toll of this, especially when it comes to an energy standpoint, is let's say whatever is going on in whatever thoughts and emotions come along with this, that's already going to take up a certain percentage of energy for us. Let's call it, oh, 30%. Let's say all of the whatever's going on, the emotions, the thoughts is taking up about 30% of our energy for the day, 30% of our life force energy that we kind of get in totality. Now, this method of suppression requires the same force pushed against whatever we're trying to push down. So we already have something that's requiring 30% of energy. In order for us to suppress it, to push it down, to not deal with it, to push through things instead of letting things naturally process, that requires an equal energy exchange, which is going to be another 30%. So now we're talking about 60% of our life force energy being dedicated towards this one thing that's going on. Now, is it ever surprising to you that we're going to experience the second thing, which is chronic exhaustion? And I'm not just talking about the physical side of exhaustion, although that's profoundly real, is that overwhelming sense of I'm so freaking tired. I don't know what to do. But I'm also so wired within my nervous system that I can't even think about sitting down to not do anything. I'm literally unable to wrap my mind around what that would be like. So the physical exhaustion starts to set in so heavily. But what we're getting and what I kind of gave some light to as well is the nervous system exhaustion. What this is going to look like for us is what we describe as classic fawning behaviors. We're talking about numbing, withdrawing, isolating, freezing, shutting out, doom scrolling, using substances to try to help you check out or to help you relax. Your nervous system is so on tilt that it's actually trying to shut down the entire system. And it's a big battle that leads to these chronic states of fatigue, these chronic states of exhaustion. The third thing we start to experience is this disconnection piece. And I hear this a lot, and I've felt this as well in my own life, is you start to feel very disconnected from yourself, and sometimes even very disconnected from other people. Because if you're always the one holding space, who is the person who is actually holding space for you? And I'm going to call out those of us. Like I said, I'm being fair and calling out myself just as much as you. But this is where those who are in this helping profession of things, whether you're a first responder, whether you're a mental health clinician, whether you're someone who's on a peer support team or holding that kind of role, is we get really freaking good at holding space for other people, but then we turn around and realize we have no one there holding space for us. And then we start to develop the next issue, which is this hyper independence. We start to convince ourselves that we don't need anyone. Like, I'm the professional, or this isn't that big of a deal. I can do this, or this is going to get better over time. But the truth is, you were never meant to do life alone. You were never meant to carry this badge of honor telling yourself that you need to be the one to handle everything, including whatever crap you're walking through as well. Here's the deeper truth here. There is a part that is going to hit maybe a little button or a nerve, but sometimes being the strong one becomes a way to avoid being seen. And I can 100% attest to this in my life, and I'm hope that as you're listening to this that you can find that resonating factor within yourself that me too, I can really understand and I can relate to this, because if you're always the one helping, no one's asking you the hard questions. No one's seeing the parts of you that are struggling. No one's sitting in your vulnerability. And that can feel safer at times. That can feel more manageable. That can feel more functional in a way. But it can also feel incredibly lonely. So, what do we do with this? What's the shift that needs to happen here? Because it's not about becoming weak. It's not about becoming overwhelmed or succumbed to your emotions or to the experience. It's not about falling apart. It's about expanding your own capacity to just receive, to let yourself be supported. And hear me out, you guys. Let yourself be a freaking human. Let yourself be a human. Let there be space for you as well. Strength isn't just holding in everything, and it's not just holding everything together either. Real strength is in allowing yourself to be seen, allowing yourself to be a human, allowing yourself to be messy, even when it's really, really uncomfortable. Now, I want to give you some things to think about. I want to give you something to simply just sit with and something to reflect on. is ask yourself, where in my life am I always the strong one? Or maybe even asking yourself, who in my life am I always the strong one for? And where am I not allowing myself to be supported? And just be very curious. Just notice what comes up for you. There's no judgment, just awareness, just curiosity. Because awareness is where everything starts to shift and everything starts to change. You don't have to carry everything on your own. You don't have to be the one who's the strong one all of the time. And you don't lose your strength by letting other people in. It is a way of actually expanding it. And I'm here to tell you that I've tried this method. I've tried to maintain being the strong one all the time, carrying everything else and making everything better for everybody else in some form or fashion. But I am working on and still stepping into my own humanity about letting myself grow stronger through other people helping me as well. And to not feel like I have to do everything always on my own. Now, healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's simply about giving yourself permission. Permission to finally put down whatever you were never meant to carry alone. Now, in the spirit of today's topic, I want to give you a very short 5-minute meditation to just reflect upon. It's very simply to just slow down for a few minutes. It's to do some of this inner exploring and this curiosity to see maybe where some of this is starting to show up for you. So we're going to move into doing this quick 5-minute meditation now. But if you're in the car, you're driving, or you have something that's requiring your very dedicated attention, I'm going to invite you to come back to this later on. Come back to it and check it out. And if you're disconnecting from us today, then thank you for being here. And thank you for allowing me to be here with you and allowing me to sit with you and be open and vulnerable as well. I invite you to make sure that you like our podcast, Sit Around the Fire. Make sure that you leave a review if possible and feed us some comments if there's some things that you want to hear about or you want to talk about, or if you can relate to this, then fill us in. Give us some dialogue and feedback. We are going to see you next time if you're dialing out now. Otherwise, stay tuned for the quick meditation. Welcome, friends. If it feels safe for you, I want to guide you through this very short integration to our episode today. Go ahead and find a position that feels comfortable for you. You can be sitting, lying down, whatever allows yourself, your body to just feel supported in this moment. And if it feels okay, I'm going to invite you to gently allow your eyes to close. And as you take a slow, deep breath in and exhale, and again, breathing in, and now simply letting go. Now just begin to notice your body. Not changing anything. Just noticing. Just being curious. Begin to notice the weight of your body. The places where you're holding tension. Places where you might already feel a sense of ease. Now, as you continue to breathe, imagine, just for a moment, that you don't have to hold everything right now. You don't have to carry it. You don't have to solve it. You don't have to fix anything in this moment. Just simply allow your body to begin to soften, even if it's so slightly. Now bring your awareness to your chest and notice what it feels like there. There may be tightness, there may be heaviness, or maybe even a sense of numbness. Whatever is there, it's okay. And I want you to imagine that with every exhale, you are gently setting something down. Not forever, just for this moment now. The responsibility, the pressure, the need to be the strong one. Just setting it down. Imagine setting it down beside you. You don't have to get rid of it. You don't have to push it away. Just not holding it for this moment. And notice when you drop into that, what that begins to feel like in your body. Even if it's just a small shift, a little more space, a little more breath, a little less weight. Now begin to imagine in front of you, there is a version of you. A version of you that doesn't have to hold everything. A version of you that is supported, seen, allowed to rest. And just notice them. How they stand, how they breathe, the energy they carry. And now gently begin to step into that version of you. Let your body feel what that's like. To not carry it all. To be supported. To be held. To not have to prove your strength. And just take a moment here, breathing into that feeling, letting your body recognize this is available to me always. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to earn support. You don't have to hold everything to be worthy. Just let that settle wherever it needs to. And as we begin to come back now, start to bring your awareness back into your body. Your breath, your hands, your feet. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and take that with you. You don't have to carry everything today. Just a little less is more than enough.